రోజు మనం టెక్స్ట్ 42-43 చెప్దాము. యా ఇమాం పుష్పితం వాచం
यामिमां पुष्पितं वाचं
ప్రవదంతి అవిపశ్చితః
प्रवदन्ते अविपश्चितः
వేదవాతరతః పార్థ
वेदवादरतः पार्थ
నాన్యదస్తీతి వాదినః
नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः
కామాత్మానః స్వర్గపరా
कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा
జన్మ కర్మ ఫలప్రదాం
जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां
క్రియా విశేష బహుళాం
क्रियाविशेषबहुलां
భోగైశ్వర్య గతిం ప్రతి.
भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति.
ఓకే, ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ పర్పస్ చదవమ్మా.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to flowery words of the Vedas, which recommended various fruitive activities for elevation to the heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say there is nothing more than this. Purport. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than the sense gratificatory proposals and for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially Jyotistoma. Men with, men with poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom, and it is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As these fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, unlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, it is said that the Apama Soma Amrita Abhuma Aksha Samma Ahvai Chaturstama Yajna Sukritama Bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the Somarasa beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have Somarasa to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to pompous ceremonies of the Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandakana, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and have profuse supply of soma rasa wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to the soul material, temporarily happiness as the lords of the material world.
ఓకే, సో దీని తాత్పర్యం పర్పట్ ఏంటంటే, ఇఫ్ యూ డూ సెప్ట July, no, August, September, October, November. These 4 months are called Chaturmasya. If you fast from certain things like spinach in 1 month, milk from 1 month, recite some specific mantras, you'll go to heaven. But the people who enjoy in the heaven again come back. So that is useless. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Better to do is to take to Krishna consciousness and leave the material world once and for all. Because otherwise you'll go to heaven, come down to earth, go to heaven, come down to earth. In this cycle, you'll be wasting time. You get the meaning?
అవును గురువు.
ఓకే, ఇంకెవరన్నా జాయిన్ అయ్యారా? సడన్గా ఏదో కింగ్ అని సౌండ్ వచ్చింది.
నేను కొంచెం లేట్
ఓకే రిషి, వెరీ గుడ్, ఐఎమ్ గ్లాడ్ యూ జాయిన్డ్. ఓకే, 44. భోగైశ్వర్య ప్రసక్తానాం
భోగైశ్వర్య ప్రసక్తానాం
తయా భార్తా చేతసాం
Daya agata chetasa
Vyavasayatmika buddhihi
vivasaya timiki buddhihi
samadhauna vidiyate.
sadhana vidiyate.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, those who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Okay? So, samadhi means fixed mind. When a mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. Is never for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. సో సమాధి అంటే మెటల్ ఎంజాయ్మెంట్ కోసం కాదు. నా జస్ట్ డూ యోగా అండ్ దెన్ విత్ ది పవర్ యూ ఎంజాయ్ భోగ ఐశ్వర్య. Like in especially in America, you'll see this. People have lot of bhoga, comforts, and aishwarya, wealth. Right? Samadhauna vidiyate. For such people, service to the Lord, buddhihi, అంటే ఏంటిది? Devotional service to the Lord. Samadhav, in the controlled mind. They cannot control the mind because they're always looking for enjoyment. That is why there is less bhakti in America. Because there is too much material comfort. When there is material comfort, bhakti doesn't follow. Okay? So, although we have material comforts, we should still do bhakti by understanding that we are actually in a bad position. Too much material comfort means spiritual knowledge will not get into our ears or into our heart. Traigunya Vishaya Veda
Traigunya Vishaya Veda
Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna
Nisargunyo Bhavarjana
Nirdvando Nityasattvasto
Nitanyo Sattvasto
Niryogakshema Atmavan
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
is also a very important verse. The last verse and this verse are very important. You should memorize these verses. Okay. The Vedas mainly deal mainly with the subjects of three modes of material nature, O Arjun. Become transcendental until you cross over these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Okay, Purport Chadurishi.
All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is Brahma Jijnasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishads, which are part of different Vedas. As the Bhagavad Gita is a part of the fifth Veda, namely the Mahabharata, the Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material nodes one has to learn, tolerance in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna.
Yeah. So this is a very important point. As long as there's a material body, so you have a body, I have a body, there are actions and reactions. Heat and cold, something will happen. So what we should do, we should learn to tolerate. It's called duality. Okay. Then when you learn to tolerate, then the transcendental position is achieved. But for that we have to depend on goodwill of Krishna. Means we have to surrender to Krishna, follow his activities, follow his instructions, and so on. There is other point here. Material world, everybody is very struggling, very hard for existence. You have to go to school, you have to pass exams, then go to college, pass exams, then get a job, then they will lay off. Like, you lose a job. I got laid off many times in America. So always it's a struggling hard for existence, right? But while doing so, what should we do? We should continue to depend on goodwill of Krishna and tolerate the pains and chant Hare Krishna. So, Hanish, you went to the Hare Krishna temple, right? 2 weeks ago?
అవును గురుగారు వెళ్ళాం మీరు
So,
కనిపించలా.
who did you talk to there?
ఎవరితో మాట్లాడలేరు గురుగారు
Okay, so but
ఎందుకంటే
you heard the Kirtana, the Hare Krishna mantra being sung?
ఆ, అది చాలా బాగా పాడారు గురుగారు.
Yeah, see, there
తర్వాత
are about
అందరూ
20 kids, all slightly older than you, maybe like 18, 19, 20 years old. And every Sunday they come like that and sing. So you should also come and slowly join their gang group and sing with them.
సరే గురుగారు.
That way, and Rishi, you should also come. Next time, bring Rishi also along with you.
Sare Gurugaru.
Yeah. That way, you learn. I mean, it's not all about going to school, going to office, going to grocery store, buying, eating, and sleeping. There is something else also to life. it is, it's called spirituality, right? Doing kirtan along with all these young boys and girls, and it's actually it's a very good culture, as well as you'll make new friends, good quality friends, not like drunkards and people who take drugs and that kind of people. These are all very good quality people, basically. Okay, next one we'll do. Yavanartha udapane
యావనోర్ధ ఉదాహరణే
Bhavane
sarvata samplutodake
Sarvata
సంప్లోతకే
tavan sarveshu vedeshu
तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु
brahmanasya vidyanatah.
ब्राह्मणस्य विद्यान्तः.
So, all purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all purposes of Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So, what do you understand from this?
అంటే ఎవరికి ఎందుకు వేదాస్ ఉన్నాయని తెలిస్తే వాళ్ళకి వేదాస్లో ఉన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వాళ్ళకి ఉపయోగపడతాయి.
రైట్, అంటే అంతకుముందు ఏం చెప్పాడు? సపోజ్ స్మాల్ వెల్ ఉంటుంది, ఆ వెల్ నుంచి వాటర్ తీసుకుంటాం మనం. But if you have a great reservoir for water, hundreds and thousands and millions of people can get from that reservoir of water, like a great lake, right? In America also we have very, very big, big lakes and so on. So then the small reservoir of water, whatever purpose it is giving, the great reservoir will also give. Similarly, if you all you want is, oh, I want nice food to eat, I want to sleep nicely in a nice house, but then the reservoir of Vedas is so big that it will give you that information plus more information. Get it?
అర్థమైంది
కనుక్కొని
గురుగారు.
చదవండి ఇద్దరులో ఎవరో ఒకరు.
The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedic literature are meant to encourage gradual development of self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of studying the Vedas is known to Lord Krishna, the primal cause of everything. So self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with him. The relationship of living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna, therefore revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is highest perfectional of the Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita as follows. Aho bata swapacho ato garyan yaj jivarge vartate nama tubhyam tapus tapasta Juvyuvya, Juhuva, Sansur Arya Brahmanashtur Nama Granti Yate. O my Lord, a person is chanting your holy name, although born of a low-like family like Kandala, dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals and studied Vedic literatures many, many times after taking his bath in all holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent to enough to understand the purposes of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for all the common man in this age to follow the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals, nor it is possible to study all the Vedanta and Upanishads thoroughly. It requires much time, energy, and knowledge and resources available to execute the purposes of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, deliverer of the fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by the great Vedic scholar Prakasannana Saraswati why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like sentimental instead of studying the Vedanta philosophy. The Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of the Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The purpose of the Vedanta philosophy is served by the inoffensively chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author and the knower of Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. The highest Vedantist and the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the name of the Lord. That is ultimate purpose of the all Vedic mysticism.
So basically, Veda Anta, Vedas are there. The summary of the Vedas is called Vedanta. And unless you study Vedas and Upanishads thoroughly, you will not get the full knowledge. However, this is hardly possible in this age, right? However,
Mm.
the best purpose of Vedic culture is served by chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So by chanting holy name of the Lord is there in your heart and he will slowly reveal all the Vedic information to you. And anyway, the we talked about how a well can give the whole purpose, right? A small well's purpose can be given by a large reservoir. But then to access the large reservoir, it becomes very complex. Therefore, you chant the Hare Krishna mantra and slowly that large reservoir is revealed to all of us. That is why we emphasize on chanting of the holy name. Because otherwise you'll spend 40 years learning Vedas uh, and you'll grow old by then. You won't have much time to do anything else. Therefore, just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, everything else falls into place. कर्माणि एव का कर्माणि एवाधिकारस्ते
Karmani
Karmani etva
se
karuste
मा फलेषु कदाचन
ma phaleshu kadanchana
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूर्
mat
ma karma phala hetur bhur
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्व अकर्मणि.
mate sangostva akarmani.
You have right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. So, this is the most quoted verse. Basically, what you should do your duty, like going to school, working, this, that. But don't think that you are the cause of all the results. Results are being given by who?
Krishna.
Krishna. And therefore, what you should do to the results?
Leave it to Krishna.
Yeah, give it back to Krishna. Suppose you work in office, you get some money. Part of the money you have to use it for your house payment, rent, groceries, car, travel, gas, and what is left out of that you use it for Krishna's service, which means to build temples, to print Bhagavad Gitas, to teach other people Bhagavad Gita, all this, right? That is why I am teaching you, because Krishna has given me a tongue, a body. What will I do that with that? I am teaching other people this knowledge, like that. Okay, Rishi, please read the purport.
There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage, therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty, without attachment to the result. His non participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path for salvation for Arjuna.
Yeah. So some key points here. Oh, what happened? The screen went away. Okay. We are the enjoyer or sufferer of our results of such actions. Whatever we do, right? Capricious activity, we just do something, general work, just doing something, then we get the karma. But then, if you do routine work, like just going to school, going to office, but you have to be disinterested. That will lead to the path of liberation. Disinterested means you are not worried about what the outcome is. And if you get very positive outcome, you again surrender that result back to Krishna. You just keep doing these things, right? Arjuna didn't want to fight, right? And people may think, oh, he's a sannyasi, he didn't want to fight. No, because he's non-participation in the battle is also another side of attachment. Why did he not want to participate in battle?
వాళ్ళ కజిన్స్ అని వాళ్ళ
వాళ్ళందరిని చంపకూడదని చెప్పి. So that's also attachment, right? I don't want my cousin to be dead, therefore I don't want to fight, although his duty is to fight as a kshatriya, and also dharma has been broken, so he has to restore dharma. And Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, is asking him to fight, and he says, I don't want to fight. That is also another side of attachment. And what happens? Such attachment never leads anyone to the path of salvation or liberation. See, if you are disinterested but obligatory means you have to do it, like a father has to raise their kids. That's obligatory duty. So you do that. But it has to be disinterested. Result is not in my hands. But if you don't participate in that activity of whatever is there in life, then that is also another sign of attachment. Right? And then Srila Prabhupada, the translator, has said any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Positive attachment or negative attachment? Negative attachment means I don't want to find. Positive attachment means, oh, here are my cousins, I love them, like that. In both cases, it is bondage. Bondage means what? You will take birth again because there is karma on your soul. Fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path. So one has to fight as a matter of duty. Okay? So, any questions on what we covered today? Very, very important points we covered today. So, what is our duty then?
Bhagavad Gita మన ప్రతిరోజు పనిని అంటే స్కూల్కి వెళ్ళడం మంచిగా చేయాలి. దాంతోపాటు మనం భక్తిని కూడా నేర్చుకోవాలి, పెంచుకోవాలి, దేవుడితో ముక్తి కలిగించాలి.
Okay, very good.